What's going on YouTube? Smaldor here, and we are here with my early thoughts, early impressions of Avowed. Now, I have around 30 hours played in the game, maybe a little bit under that. I had a little over 20 yesterday, and then I played for about 9 today, so. I think I may be about halfway. Maybe not even quite halfway, around there. I am playing on Path of the Damned difficulty, which is the hardest difficulty in the game. And I am playing and focusing mostly. The music's getting kind of loud. Let me lower that a little bit. Basically, I'm playing two-handed fighter for the most part. I experimented with sword and board and dual-wielding one-handers as well early on in my playthrough, but I respect. So, let's dive right into some of that kind of stuff. You can respec in this game at any time as long as you have the money to do it, which I think that's fair. I know a lot of games and a lot of people prefer to be able to just respec at any time for free as much as you want. I think having some kind of limitation, even if it's kind of arbitrary, like just having some in-game currency, is good because it's still a little bit of deterrent. This is just me. Your decision, your choice matters as to the build you're making, right? That's just me. So, anyways, Avowed. Avowed is by Obsidian. It is, I'm just going to say it's a first-person, semi-open world game. I know you can play in third person, but it is very clear this game was designed for first person. It takes place in Aora, which is the same world as Pillars of Eternity 1 and Pillars of Eternity 2. And it takes place just a couple years. Somebody told me 3 years. It sounds about right. They comment on this in the game about the events in Deadfire. They have said, the devs have said specifically that you don't need to play the Pillars games to fully understand and enjoy this game. I think I might disagree. There are many times that I have experienced side content, main story content, where if I didn't understand and had played the Pillars games, I might be like, what? Do I need to Google that? Yeah, I probably need to Google that. That being said, I'm sure they say that because this game has the same system that Pillars does, essentially, in that any like important key names or things like that, they'll highlight a different color in the dialogue, and then you can press, I think the default on the keyboard is F, and you can bring up the thing where it'll talk about everything, and it'll be like, oh, what is this? Who is Barath? You know, blah 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 blah. Who is Aethys? You know, and it'll explain and you give a description and everything like that. So that is in the game. But still, I don't know. This game, performance, I have a pretty good computer. I'm playing at 1440p, and I'm getting around 90 to 100-ish FPS at any given time in the straining areas with DLSS on. I've heard a lot of people say their performance for this game is pretty bad. So take that as you will. Like I said, I'm running on one of the best computers you can probably get on the market right now, and that's about the FPS that I'm getting. That aside, the combat in this game is fantastic. It feels really good. Obviously, skills and all that stuff is going to be a little bit more simplistic from the Pillars game, just due to the nature of the type of game that this is. Obviously, they went for something different. But it feels really good. The exploration feels really good. You are rewarded very well. Characters seem pretty likable. I mean, you have Garrus as one of your first companions in the game, which is fantastic. I mean, Kai. I mean, it's Garrus, and he basically is Garrus in this game as well, so good job. And I don't mean that sarcastically. Garrus is amazing. Most of the voice acting is very good. There is a little bit whatever. dialogue. I would say the dialogue and just the writing in general, in the beginning, it felt a little questionable, but it definitely has been getting better and better and better, to the point where I'm looking forward to all the side quests. I'm looking forward to the main story. Some of the side quests are a little weaker than others. Some of them are just very, go kill these guys. Okay, done. Whatever. Go get this item over here. Done. Typical, these kind of games. I mean, can you knock it for that, I guess? Yes, you can. But there are some really good ones in there, too. There's a lot of optional things, a lot of optional dungeons, a lot of optional quests that are rewarding. So, for the first, 15 hours, I'll say, one of my biggest complaints was the itemization in this game. It reminded me just of the Outer Worlds. I like the Outer Worlds. I thought it was a fine game, but I don't think I liked it as much as a lot of other people. And for me, it was because these kind of games, I play these for the power fantasy of getting stronger, growing, progressing my character, and that generally means loot, as well as abilities that you accrue, when you level up. This game does, is very fine with the abilities and stuff. There's lots of abilities and whatnot. I do have a little bit of complaint about that system too, but it's not that bad. But the loot in the Outer Worlds was just, it's the same 4 or 5 items, and then you just upgrade them throughout the whole game. And then, okay, now instead of gun 1, now it's gun 2, gun 3, gun 4. It's the same thing. I mean, I know they weren't just called gun, but if you played the game, you know what I mean. This game's kind of similar. You have Common Sword 1, 2, 3. Fine Sword 1, 2, 3. Superb Sword 1, 2, 3. And same thing for all the items. You have swords, one-hand swords, maces, axes, daggers, wands, two-hand hammers, two-hand axes and swords, and then bows, pistols, and basically a two-handed rifle. I can't pronounce what it's called. It starts with an A. Let me know down below how you pronounce it, please. I'm not about to try. And yeah, you just have better versions of that. However, like I said, this was maybe my first 15 hours because I spent a lot of time exploring the first zone in the game. Moving a little bit past that, I realized there is a ton of unique items in the game. I'm already decked out in full uniques, and they all have special abilities about them, and that's really going to define kind of what kind of build you're going to play. And on top of that, you're eventually going to be able to you can change the enchantments on the uniques to something else. Well, one of them you can change, one of them you can't. All uniques have two things. You can change one and you can't change the other. And this is for weapons and armor. Your jewelry is static. You can't change the jewelry stuff. Otherwise, guys, I mean, this game's pretty good. I think, for me, all the callback stuff and the lore stuff related to the Pillars games is amazing. I really, really like it. I'm hoping that by the end of this game, I'm going to get a lot of answers to the questions that I had at the end of Pillars 2. And we'll see, because it's very clear that it is an impact. Anyways, this video is already way too long for early thoughts and impressions on this game. Let me know what you guys think. Oh, I do want to comment on one other thing. Okay. I have seen this everywhere online, whether it's the Steam reviews, Twitter, I've seen, game journalists talk about this as well. Why are we in 2025 and you're playing a game like this and I can't just kill everybody? Why can't I just go to town and just start slaughtering people? No, this is not immersive. I can't, why can't I pickpocket and steal from anybody? Yada, yada, yada. This isn't Skyrim. This game is not an immersive sim. That's not the whole point of the game, guys. Yes, you create your character, but you are kind of focused into still a very type of character. You have to be a godlike. You can only be human or elf. Which maybe I can't remember if that's all godlikes are only human or elf, but you can only be human or elf and you have to be godlike. Right? That's a huge contention of the game is the fact that you are a godlike. You have a pretty distinct mission from the start of the game. You have to do this. You can do some pretty bad things in this game, but at the end of the day, you're still a morally gray at worst type of person. A lot of the times your choices, you're either going to be the most like white knighted, hero, or you can just be a jerk about it, but you're still going to generally do something that's right. Now there's there is some quests that is like, there's no right answer. You help option A, you help people B, people A are going to get screwed. You help people A, people B are going to get screwed. So it's a lose-lose, whatever. But you don't need to be able to have all that kind of stuff in these kind of games. Now, a complaint that I will have with that is a lot of the NPCs are very static, and they do feel a little not alive. There's a lot of just groups of people standing around doing motions. No dialogue, nothing. Give me a little more in the bigger cities, some more ambient just chatter noise, so it just sounds like, if you're ever in a crowded area, you can't distinguish what people are talking about, but you just hear them talking. There's nothing. Cities don't really feel alive in that sense. I honestly just kind of avoid the cities unless I actually really have to go there, because it's more fun just exploring the world. And in that sense, usually the NPCs you come across do have dialogue and things to talk about and things like that, because there's not that many good guys out there. Anyways, that's the last thing I want to talk about. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you have already been playing the game, if you're thinking about playing the game. This game will be on Game Pass. So if you're looking about trying the game. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.